Welcome to Entrepreneurs International Network, where entrepreneurs learn, network, and grow. I'm Roger Killen, the organizer. Today, Aura McKay is training us on how to achieve marketing mastery with 3 keys. Aura, I have got 3 questions for you.
All right.
Help us to get to know you at more than a professional level.
Excellent.
Question number 1, and as you answer these, I'll take over the admit. Question number 1, what are your special talents?
Aha. So special talents beyond what I offer in my business, I have a skill of being able to do 2 very exciting party tricks. One, I can recite the alphabet backwards. And the second is I can recite Hamlet's soliloquy, the to be or not to be one. And recently, Roger, I actually changed the to be or not to be to a to pack or not to pack for a friend who's considering moving houses and was playing with it a little bit. It's part of how I maintain my creativity while I'm still pursuing entrepreneurial business growth.
Well, you have some unusual special talents.
Well, I thought I'd share a little bit, and not this, I'm interested in people actually building relationships. So when we do that, when we share who we actually are, it becomes easier to get to know each other.
All right. Question number 2. What are the top qualities that attract you to other people? What are the top qualities that attract you to other people?
I would say number 1 is going to be integrity. Number 2 would be optimism. And number 3 would be communication. Okay.
Repeat those, 1, 2, and 3.
Integrity, optimism, and communication. There's sort of there's 3 of my kind of core values as well. Integrity in all things. I think it's easier to do business and to have relationships with people who have integrity. Optimism, because it is one of the ways that I approach life, is looking for the evidence of awesome. And I like hanging out with other people who are also focused on what's great, what's working. How can we lean into what's already awesome in life?
Beautiful.
And then communication, that's the key to marketing mastery right there. You don't even have to listen to the presentation. Communication is the number 1 key.
All right. Question number 3. What is one of your favorite quotes and why?
One of my very favorite quotes is by Pablo Picasso, and it goes like this: learn the rules like a pro so that you can break them like an artist. And the reason why I particularly resonate with that quote is in my 20 years of working as a professional photographer, and in the last sort of 8 years of working in business coaching and online training, there are so many rules to entrepreneurial success. And what I've discovered is that the rules are helpful, the structure and format is helpful, but each of us is unique in how we can apply those rules to our own lives and our own business. And if we apply them like an artist with self-expression and creativity, that's where I think we have the biggest opportunity to thrive.
Lovely. Attendees, if you would please turn on your video. Aura would be very grateful. Otherwise, it's a little odd, weird, talking to a bunch of black squares. Number 2, if you could please stay muted and type any questions you've got into the chat. Then every 10 minutes or so, I will put them together as a batch and pose them to Aura. And at number 3, you're going to be sent a link to the recording of this talk, ideally within 2 hours of it ending. But I encourage you nevertheless to take notes, because the very act of you taking notes is going to increase what you absorb by an astonishing 30%. Aura, are you ready to knock our socks off?
You know I am, Roger. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm ready. I hope you guys are ready.
Take it away. The show is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. The conversation we're about to have is around marketing mastery. And the reason we're having this, I'm guessing, is because you are likely an entrepreneur or about to become an entrepreneur or have been an entrepreneur. And this might be representative of your current experience. The feeling like there must be some kind of mythical unicorn of success and some magical pathway that we are supposed to be taking to get there. And one of the things that I see happening, especially in the online world and in digital marketing, is that there are so many opportunities, so many options, so many different ways of approaching marketing that it can feel overwhelming. And my intention today is to radically simplify marketing into 3 specific keys that you can use to unlock some success in your business. And we're going to just lay them out right away. I'm going to tell them to you right off the top. I'm not going to make you wait. I'm going to just share them with you. And then I'm going to spend some time going deep, explaining them and seeing if we can maybe workshop them a little bit to make them relevant to you and your business. So here they are. This is what I perceive as the 3 critical pillars to achieving marketing mastery. The number 1 is a clear message. And it sounds simple, but it can be a lot more challenging to create that clarity for your success or for yourself than you might think. Number 2 is consistent delivery. And number 3 is all of this needs to lead to a compelling offer. So these are the 3 keys that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to look at what can create success in each of those 3 key areas. Now, number 1, consistent delivery. We're gonna get back to the clear message, but most of us have a sense of what consistent delivery kind of means. We probably are shoulding on ourselves a little bit. Oh, I should be more consistent. I should post things at the same time. I should send out more frequent emails. I should be on XYZ platform, whatever that may be. So most of us have a sense of what consistent delivery could look like if we were doing everything correctly. But before we even get to what does consistent delivery look like in our own business, we need to really understand the other 2 keys to marketing mastery. We need to look at specifically what is our message and what is the compelling offer that we're leading people to. So a clear message has 2 components. It has a component of what you are saying, and then it has a component of how you're actually saying it, the copy you're using, the visuals you're using, the tone, the personality, the elements around how you're presenting your message. So the first part, what to say, I recommend that you always start a conversation with any prospect, any lead, any inquiry by inviting them to talk about themselves first. So the first thing in a clear message is that we want to be talking about them, their problems, their ideas, their goals, their dreams, all of that kind of insight into who they are and what they care about. The second thing we would focus on is what's in it for them. So thinking about how can we talk about ourselves, what we do, in a way that explains why they should care, what's in it for them, why should they even listen to your message. And then the last thing we would talk about in our messaging is ourselves and our own credibility. I'm going to talk about this a little bit in more depth when we get into looking at the details of our compelling offer. The second piece is why we hire copywriters, because talking about ourselves in our own marketing, it can be really challenging to stay consistent with our brand message, our brand voice. But mostly I find I have a hard time getting to the point. I like to talk all about a lot of things. And the challenge for me is how do I simplify my message and get to the point? And this is why I use copywriters to help me do that. We also want to speak from the customer's viewpoint. We want to make sure that we're talking in a way that our client understands, using language they understand, and talking again about the things that they care about. So there's two great components in your clear message, a what to say and a how to say it. When we're talking specifically about social media, and I do see that there is a question in the chat box from Jeff about what is the best all-in-one platform for small businesses to actually have to carry your clear message. And is it SEMrush, HubSpot, Hootsuite, etc.? You know what? I don't have an actual definitive opinion on the singular best platform. I find that it depends on how it integrates with the rest of your marketing tools. I find that it depends on whether or not you are outsourcing your delivery of your messaging. And I find that it also depends on your own computer literacy and comfort with different tools. I have heard great things about all three of those platforms, specifically HubSpot and Hootsuite, but I am not really platform specific. What I find more important is the consistency. Once you choose and these platforms aren't really the distribution platforms. These are more of the software platforms that help you to create consistent delivery. But once you choose a location, once you choose whether you're going to be delivering your message on something like Instagram, or you're going to deliver your message on Facebook, or you're going to deliver your message on LinkedIn, you want to be consistent in how you're showing up on that platform. If you're delivering your message through email, you want to be consistent in how you show up through email. People look at your consistency as part of an indication about how reliable you're going to be if they hire you. They're looking at your behavior in your marketing delivery to see whether or not they can trust you. And they're looking at that from the perspective of, hey, I haven't even paid this person any money yet. So how are they behaving before I hire them, as an indication of how consistent or reliable, can they trust us to show up every time with a similar message and a similar voice? So regardless of what social media management platform or distribution channel you choose, or even regardless of which social media platform you're on, the idea is to be consistent in how, when, and what you say when you show up on that platform. So I'm hoping that that has answered your question for you, Jeff. And one of the things that we want to do on those social media platforms, be it Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, is to do what I call the 3 A's of social media. And there's sort of 3 main kinds of types of messaging formats that we can use on social media to be effective and consistent. The first is affinity. So these are sort of those credibility posts, these are the alignment posts so that people can build that relationship. This was what Roger was doing at the beginning of our conversation today. He was helping you get to know me. He was helping you understand that I am a human being and an entrepreneur. He was giving you some insight into who I am so that you can relate to me and have an affinity for what I'm about to say. Then the next piece of how you can approach the kinds of message that you use on your social media platforms is about authority. And a lot of times the clients that I work with, who are mostly creative service-based freelancers, they have a hard time with this. They have some imposter syndrome. They don't really necessarily know what they're supposed to say. Canadians really have a tough time in doing this kind of thing because they kind of feel a little bit like it's bragging or they're like being too boastful. So, you know, sometimes you can use other people's appreciation of you to be able to toot your own horn a little bit. But it's important that people understand that they can trust you, not only through your actions and being consistent, but also by sharing with them, hey, I have experience. You can trust me. Here is a case study. Here is somebody else who hired me. Here's what my past clients have said. Here's some results other people have gotten. And then finally, you could be doing all of these great posts on social media and be sitting there thinking, like, why am I not getting any inquiries? Like, where's all my bookings? If you don't actually make an offer or invite people to your compelling offer page, you're not going to be getting clients from social media. And this is what we sometimes forget about, this third step of being authentic in our clear calls to action. Here's how I can help you. Here are some of the services that I offer. Here is how to hire me. Here are some clear invitations to visit my offer page, to connect with me, to book an inquiry, etc. So these are the three main kinds of messaging that you can use on social media to be clear and to be compelling in your message and to be consistent in its delivery. My recommendation is about 30% of each of these, and then for your other 10% to be sharing other people's content and information as well, so that you can be a good community member and be participating in social media in a way that shares other people's content. And you know what, gang? Sharing other people's content actually gives you more credibility and authority. All right.
Aura, are you open to a question?
I absolutely am. What do we got?
Colton Sir asks, what is the biggest misconception in marketing?
Whoa, nothing like a big whammy there. What is the biggest misconception in marketing? I think one of the biggest things that people confuse in marketing is the difference between marketing and selling. And so I think that the misconception in marketing is that marketing is selling, and they are two very separate conversations that you want to be having with your prospects, your leads, and then finally when they become clients. So for me, the difference between marketing and selling is marketing is the getting to know you, relationship building, trust building, need and awareness building conversations where you are doing most of the talking. A sales conversation shifts when your prospect or lead starts reaching out to you and you want to be doing more of the listening. This is where you're listening to their needs, listening to their wants, and helping them to find a solution within your range of services or offers. So I find that those are very different. And so the biggest misconception is that when we're marketing, we're selling. And in fact, we're not. And I think if you can focus on that relationship building and the getting to know people and being patient in that process, because it can take some time, that you will be more successful in your marketing. You will get more leads, more inquiries, and more opportunities to sell.
Thank you, Aura. No further questions.
Thank you. All right. So we looked at then some pieces of the messaging, but most of this is dependent on what you're actually selling. And many of us are confused about what we're selling, about what is that offer that we're leading people to? What is the solution that we want people to eventually inquire about? And so I believe that the most important of all of the three keys is your compelling offer. And that's where I'm going to spend most of my time in today's conversation, is to talk about your compelling offer and how crafting a powerfully compelling offer and being really clear on what you're actually selling can help you achieve marketing mastery. So let's look at the psychology of buying. So the psychology of buying is that people hire you so that they can get some of their external needs met, so that their immediate obvious problem is solved. But it's usually the reason they hire you is not for that external need, but because of what it will mean to them internally, psychologically, or even existentially. that there's a piece around their emotion, and there's a piece around their prestige and their well-being and their own significance that is going to drive that buying decision. So when you start looking at what you're actually selling versus what they're buying, for the most part in creative services providers, which is who I focus on, and most service entrepreneurs, your offer, whatever it is going to include some of your time. There's going to be some kind of a deliverable in your service offer, and there's going to be some portion of your expertise that's included in your offer. And many of us think that this is what we're selling. Many of us think that this is what our clients are actually buying, because it seems so obvious, and this is the thing that we trade for the dollar bills, but it's not actually what your clients are likely buying. Most of your clients are likely buying an experience that they want to have. Natalie typed into the chat box their sense of self. Exactly. They want to have an experience. They want to experience a solution. They want to experience an outcome. They want to experience a particular feeling of relief, of gratification, of just ease. That's the solution I'm looking for right now. I'm currently hiring some people, and I'm like, I just want my life to be easy, and that's the solution I'm looking for, in regardless of what deliverable is being delivered. So when you're looking at your offer, think about whatever it is that you sell in your business. And if you'd like to type in some of the things that you sell, like, do you do logo design? Do you offer landscaping services? If you'd like to type in a little bit about what you do in the chat box so that I can make some of my examples a little bit more relevant, I'd love to hear a little bit about who is in the room as I continue on. So great, I see some people are typing in. That's fabulous. I'll keep my eye on those. Oh, interesting things are coming up. People in this room, Roger, you have gathered together an interesting group of entrepreneurs here. So when we think about our compelling offer, this is my definition of what is a compelling offer. So a compelling offer is going to talk to your ideal client. Notice that this is not plural. This isn't all the possible clients that could possibly buy the thing, and all of the clients in the possible world, but it's your ideal client. The more compelling your offer is when it is specific to an ideal client. And when it talks about the outcome rather than the deliverables. And it talks about that outcome in a powerful and compelling way, so that the copy and the visuals and the calls to action are powerful and compelling, such that your ideal client will take a specific action. They will hire you for life coaching. They will hire you for unique pet products. They will hire you for video production. They will reach out and take that specific action. Usually it's not hiring you. Usually the specific action is to book a call or get an inquiry or get an estimate. So let's look at the format of how you could create your own compelling offer in your creative business. So this is very similar, you'll notice, to the 3 A's of social media. I'm getting distracted by these great services that are in this chat box. This is fantastic, you guys. Thank you so much. We've got money coaching, entertainment products, online home design, finding birth parents, music lessons. This is amazing. Thank you. All right, the format of a compelling offer. Remember how we said that there's what you say and then there's how you say it? So the format of a compelling offer, we want to start with insight into what is the existing customer beliefs. illustrating the problem or the unmet need in your products that your product or services will address. At the beginning of today's conversation, and I do like to use meta teaching a little bit in my teaching and my training. The beginning of today's conversation, I talked about how confusing marketing was, how there's so many different options out there, especially in the digital marketing world, where we talked about how there are so many different options and different platforms and different things that we coulda, woulda, shoulda, oughta, mighta doing. I'm illustrating the problem that you may be experiencing of being overwhelmed by what to do in your marketing. And my solution is to be able to help you simplify it. So you always want to start with some insight into what is the current customer belief, what is how can you illustrate the problem or the unmet need. Let me talk to you about it this way. You guys have been to in-person networking events, and you've gone up and you've met someone who has previously been a stranger to you, and you shake their hand at the time of shaking hands, and you say to them, what do you do? And they proceed to talk about themselves, talk about themselves, talk about themselves, talk about themselves. And maybe you say nothing at all. And at the end of like 5 minutes of them talking about themselves, they go, oh, this has been a great conversation. Can I have your card? And you probably laugh, because what I'm illustrating there is that when we get to talk about ourselves, our own businesses, our own problems, our own challenges and frustrations, dreams and ideal outcomes, we feel heard, we feel listened to, we feel like, hey, that person gets me, maybe they can help me. So in your messaging and in your marketing, if you practice making sure that your prospect feels heard, feels seen, knows that they're in the right place. When you talk specifically about what their problems are, what their ideal solutions are, they can start to see that, hey, maybe this person can help me. I feel good here because I feel seen and recognized. And belonging is one of the key aspects to our own psychology. And you're starting to get the sense that marketing and selling has some psychology around it. I'm reading the chat box here. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so the first one is insight into the existing beliefs, challenges, fears, frustrations, desires. The second part of your compelling offer is now going to take them into, here's how life could be different if we work together. If I share with you some of the products that I have that can help you with your lifestyle and health. If you work with me, I can help you create more passion into profit. If you are working with me, I can help you actually become the Simon Sinek of your industry. These are the kinds of messaging that we're starting to see a lot more in marketing. So this can help you message more effectively in your compelling offer. So if you can articulate the appealing and distinctive promise that your product or services can offer, that's going to provide the basis for your clients choosing it over the competition. So this is where you might put in your unique selling proposition or your key differentiation factor or the number one benefit or result that people get when they choose to work with you. We're not talking about deliverables. We're not talking about 35 minutes of video shooting and 2 minutes of editing and 4 minutes of post-production. We're not talking about 5 coaching sessions for 27 minutes each. We're talking about the outcomes, the benefits that they're going to get. So I am going to pause here because this is a little bit of a tricky one. And I'm just going to see if anybody has any quick questions regarding creating benefit for your clients. So I'm just going to see, is there any questions in here? Rogers, are you seeing any questions on your end?
No, I'm not.
All right. If you get something that comes up, type it in the chat box. I'm going to continue on. I do have a little worksheet there. Priyanka just asked there, what are some prompts to identify your offer? I'm not sure what you mean about that. So if you can type a little bit more for me, Priyanka, I might be able to answer your question more effectively. Excellent. All right. Whoops. Let's just stop share there. I'm going to do this. So the third thing and the very last thing that you would put on your offer page, and I'm sharing this, your offer page could be the final proposal or estimate, or it could be a sales page on your website. There's different ways of using this format to create a compelling offer. For many of us, we don't necessarily have sales pages on our website. We do custom quotes, custom proposals, custom offers. Do this in your proposal. The temptation is to lead with your logo and your credibility and how awesome you are. Resist the temptation. Put your prospect's logo on the front of your proposal. Put their mission statement. Write down their challenges and their problems in the beginning of your proposal. It will give them a sense of ownership over the project. It will help them feel as if they've already said yes to your offer. The last thing is whatever you can do to support your offer with credibility so that you can explain why they can trust you to deliver those benefits, why they can believe in the messaging that you've offered them regarding the insight, the benefit, and finally, why can they believe that you can do what you've said you can do in terms of deliver those outcomes. So that is the format of a compelling offer. And what it starts with is talking to your ideal client. And talking to your ideal client might not be as easy as you think. Many of us think that this is who our ideal client is. So if we were in a live situation, and I can see many of you have your video on, which is great, raise your hand if you would like some of these kinds of clients that love your work, need what you offer, pay your prices, they're ready to buy, they give you testimonials, they refer you, like whoop, whoop. Thank you. Yeah, we all want this client. Roger's got 2 hands up. Yes, yes, I want this client. But this doesn't describe a specific individual client that we can actually connect with, that we can talk to. It's a very generalized characteristics of clients that may or may not be ours. You want to get more specific about who is your ideal client. So these are the 3 questions you need to ask yourself. Who are they really? Who are they specifically? Who are they? Could you name a name? Could you identify them if you looked them up on social media? Could you give me 5 examples of people who would be awesome clients for you? Could you give me 3 examples of specific names of people you would love to work with? When you can do that, you have a very clear vision of who your ideal client might be. The next question for you to discover is, what do they actually need? And I say this because what do they want is a different question. What do they need and what do they want? Let me give you a little bit of an example. Many times clients will come to me, and what they want is they want to know, how can I get more clients on Instagram? But what they need is they need to package and price and position their offer to make it more compelling so that the people they already have on social media will buy it. So sometimes what they think they want isn't what they actually need. And many of us as entrepreneurs have looked out into the marketplace and have identified a gap. And we've said, hey, people need this. People need videography. People need copywriting. People need post-surgery care services. People need unique pet products that they can buy locally. People need software platforms for home-based catering. That sounds really cool. People need these things. but it's probably not what they're Googling. It's probably not what keeps them up at night. It's probably not what they are wishing for when they're wishing for the solution of ease or prestige or time or significance. They probably don't think, you know what I really need? I really need a piano teacher. They might think, what I really want is I want to be able to serenade my my spouse of 20 years with the song that we danced to on our wedding day. I want to be able to play that for her. So that's what they want. And what they need is 3 months of piano lessons. So distinguishing for yourself, what is the difference between what your clients say that they want and what is it that they actually need? So how do you figure out what your clients care about? Well, there's their external or obvious needs. And this is usually whatever your deliverables are. So if your deliverables are 3 logo designs, if your deliverables are, I'm just going to get back to my chat box here. If your deliverables are insurance products, if your deliverables are, what else we got? Money coaching hours. If your deliverables are software development for stage entrepreneurs, whatever your deliverables are, is their external or obvious needs. And those ones are pretty straightforward to identify. These are the ones that we use when we're looking for prospects out there in the market. We want to get really clear on what the external and obvious needs are. However, in our marketing message, we want to pay more attention to their internal needs, their philosophical needs, their past experiences, their fears and frustrations, and their desired outcomes. So, how do we figure this out? How do we get into the minds and hearts of our ideal prospects and clients? Well, let me just check 1 second here. I think I've got my slide backwards. Yes. Okay. So here we go. So this is how I would imagine, or I have been successful in really discovering what my clients care about. The first thing I do is I do a brain dump of everything you think you know. And I would give yourself about a week to do this. I would consider this as a living document. Do you guys know what I mean by a living document? It's not something that you write down and then you like put it away and you close the book and you never look at it. A living document is something you look at again and again and you keep adding to and adjusting and growing as a document. And so if you can do a brain dump, and you can write down everything you think your clients care about. So if we talk about money coaching, for instance, what is everything that you think your clients care about? So your clients might care about leaving a legacy. They might care about debt reduction. They might care about looking good to their parents. They might care about living up to their kids' expectations. They might talk about living debt-free. So you want to do a brain dump of everything you think your clients might care about, externally, internally, philosophically, existentially. What is it they might really care about? And you can, then you want to get creative. Make it up. Start guessing. And I'm not kidding, because you know your industry best. You know your prospects best. You know yourself best and your own business and your own offers. There's a reason you created your offers. You want to really look into what could they care about? Guess and start using your intuition. The last thing we do is we get curious and we check our assumptions. So most of us approach market research or surveying our clients from the opposite direction. We think, oh, I don't really know very much about my clients, or I don't want to make any assumptions, or I don't want to make it up and get it wrong. So we wait until we get some data. And I'm telling you, you already have data. You have your intuition, you have your experience, you have the depth of creating your own business. And so you can use that list now to check your assumptions. How can you check your assumptions? You can check your assumptions by doing, sorry, I'm getting distracted again. Yes, you can check your assumptions by looking at online, going to groups where your ideal client hangs out. Look at what they're saying. Look at what they're complaining about. Look at the kinds of things they're asking other group members to help them solve. That will give you a really good indication about where their hearts and minds are at. You can also ask them directly. The book that I recommend that I have found is the best book for diving into past clients and getting, using their experience with you to develop new offers, to really understand why they hired you, the difference they made, that you made, and the value that you delivered. The book is called The Pumpkin Plan. The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz. And that book guides you to look at your past clients and clients that you perceive as possibly your clients and ask them questions about what do they care about? What are their internal needs? What are their philosophical needs? What are their existential needs? And it guides you in how to create compelling offers around that by using that data and using that research. Taking another pause here just to see where you guys are at.
No further questions in the chat?
Fantastic. So once you do these pieces, we're still looking at your compelling offer. And this is the worksheet that I use to be able to design any of my new offers, to check out my past offers, and just to make sure that these are really going to support my marketing message, to be a clear marketing message and to be consistently delivered. So what I do is I write down my ideal client in a 3-word description. When you think about your ideal client, lots of people recommend to do things like give them a nickname or something like that. Yes, we can see the previous slide. So hope that you've got that, Gata. All right. So I use a 3-word description, not a nickname, because I really encourage you to think about what is your own raise your hand label. And by that, I mean, if you were somebody's ideal client, what would you answer to? I would answer to creative entrepreneur. I would answer to online training platform. I would answer to founder of a small business. I would answer to small business owner. I will not answer to lady boss. I am not that client. I will not answer to fempreneur. I'm not that client either. So each of your ideal clients is going to have their own raise their hand label, a 1, 2, or 3-word label that they will raise their hand to. So aspiring TED Talk speakers would be a raise your hand label. I'd raise my hand to that. That would be an awesome raise your hand label for a ideal client. If you offer post-surgery care services, is your ideal client the person who was in surgery, or is your ideal client the person who is the caregiver? And if so, what is the 3-word description that those people would raise their hand for? So I'm just going to check if anyone would like me to help them figure out a raise your hand label for your ideal clients. Okay, Jillian, you have raised your hand. Does that mean that you have a question? Can you type it in the chat box? Or are you just raising your hand for the raise your hand label? We'll find out. Great. Yes, Suzanne, you may have a copy of the ideal client slide. I can absolutely figure out a way to get that to you, especially if you make sure to reach out to me in social media and connect to me and ask me there. I'll make sure to get you that slide specifically.
Aura, do I have your blessing to give the audience your email?
It would be fabulous to give the audience my email. That will totally work. Yes.
Okay, done.
Great. So you're going to have your own raise your hand label, and then you're going to have a name for your target offer. So Jillian, you keep raising your hand. I'm thinking you have a question. Nope. All right. Awesome. Okay. So your offer name. So you want, when you're developing a compelling offer, marketing messaging and your compelling offer is to a specific service. Don't try to create a compelling offer for all the things you do or could do or any of those kinds of things. So we're going to take one step back. Jillian, who is your ideal client so far? How do you currently describe them? So just type it, go ahead and type it in the chat box, and then I will help you find a raise your hand label for your ideal client. Give me as much information as you can, and then I'm going to give you a 3-word description for your ideal client. All right, I'm going to keep going while Jillian's typing that into the chat box. So you want to choose one target offer. I know a lot of us are doing custom quotes or proposals, and you think, oh, well, it depends, and I do some of this and some of that and some of this and some of that. I encourage you to just, in your mind, choose a target offer, the thing you want to do the most. Choose that offer. What could that look like? And then write down everything that it includes. Write down everything that it includes. So Priyanka just typed into the chat box that she offers custom music. So indie filmmakers is your 3-word description, Priyanka, and a custom music, what? Custom music, what is it when you compose a custom music composition? Like, what is the name of your offer for that? Natalie offers that her 3-word description for her ideal client might be hardworking creative. It might be, that could work. It's very, very broad. And what I've learned about the word creative, Natalie, is that sometimes that word doesn't mean what you think it means. Sometimes people who are artists and makers will raise their hand. Sometimes people who are creative service providers will raise their hand. And some people who just self-identify as being creative, even though they're in a non-creative type of business, will still raise their hand. So you may find that you want to be a little bit more specific with your 3-word description to get really good insight into what could happen. Yes, all are welcome. I see this is the challenge. All are welcome, but it's hard to talk to the internal and psychological elements for all people. We want to get a little bit more focused in our marketing message so that we can be compelling and powerful in our marketing message when we speak to our ideal client. So Jillian offers now 25 to 50-year-old working professional, health conscious, male and female, sensitive to awareness of mental and emotional needs, and embrace health and wellness. Yeah, so far, we haven't really gotten down into what is something that would be specific to identify them. And I would say, yes, you're Jillian's client. You could use Jillian's service. So Jillian, you might want to look at what are some of their, enjoy top quality healthcare service. Okay. So yes, Yes. So Jillian, it may be that you want to use in your 3-word description something that focuses around their desire for top quality healthcare. So you would maybe say something about their expectation for that kind of top quality healthcare. I'm going to think on it, but I would lean into that aspect more about them rather than their demographic elements. I would look at more as how are they going to self-identify? And if they self-identify as discerning healthcare consumers, that might be it. Discerning healthcare consumers might be it. Yeah. Great, Natalie, I see it in my clients so far. High net worth individual who struggles with beating the market. So I would say that Jeff has offered high net worth individual who struggles with beating the market. I'm going to think on that. What I'm going to do, gang, is I'm on my second to last slide here. So I am going to complete what I am showing in the compelling offer, and then I'm going to give some more time for us to be able to workshop and brainstorm some of these elements. Does that sound good? All right. So in your compelling offer worksheet, write your 3-word description: discerning healthcare consumers, high performers and high performing investors. Maybe, Jeff, maybe. And then you want to look at your target offer. What is the one thing you're going to talk about to them? Not all the things you can do, but what is the one thing you really think they need the most that you want to talk to them about, that you're going to start crafting your clear message that you can consistently deliver, that's going to lead to this compelling offer. So first, you look at all of the things that your offer includes: your time, your process. How do you create it? How do you deliver your service? What are your actual deliverables? Do you deliver 3 viewings per listing? Do you deliver a guaranteed 27 open houses? What do you deliver? What skills are you using in your offer? And what is your unique approach? Write it all out. And then for every single thing you include, you are going to write so that, because. So for instance, if you are a money coach and you deliver 10 hours of money coaching, so that what? What are they going to get in those 10 hours? What external or obvious needs are you going to fill out in those 10 hours? Why 10 hours? Why not 5 hours? Why not 25 hours? And what is going to be the end result after those 10 hours of money coaching? So that they have confidence in their money relationships, so that they can fulfill their legacy dreams with their kids, so that because they want to fulfill their legacy dreams of with their kids, because they want to live a life debt-free, because they want to transform their relationship with money. Great. So we've got, these are so great, you guys. Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to go through some more of these. I want you to have this worksheet. If you haven't seen it already, take a screenshot of it. Use this tool here to help you create your compelling offer, because gang, your compelling offer is the cornerstone, is the biggest key of the 3 keys to achieving marketing mastery. All of your messaging, your clarity in your messaging, your compellingness in your messaging and your offer comes from identifying this part of the equation. If you just talk about this, you won't be nearly as successful as if you sell them this, because this is what they're buying. They are buying the philosophical needs, the avoidance of fears and frustrations, and their most desirable outcomes. So crafting that compelling offer so that you can talk to your ideal client about the outcome you provide in a powerful and compelling way that causes them to take a specific action is going to drive those other keys and help you achieve marketing mastery. here's the catch. Your messaging is going to be different depending at what stage of the buyer's journey your prospect, follower, lead, hot lead is at. All of it leads to that compelling offer, either the proposal or the offer page on your website. All of your relationship building, marketing stuff is going to lead to that. And each time you have a clear message, it will have a clear call to action that leads to the next stage, that leads to the next stage, that leads to the next stage, that gets you those awesome paying clients. So many of you are doing all the things. Many of you have marketing that looks like this. Many of you have offers that looks like this. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do it for you and 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 you. And it gets very confusing. And people don't know, am I in the right place? Am I not in the right place? I'm hearing some validation. I hear you, Priyanka. I am guilty of it too. I have to look to my coach and my copywriters to help me see it objectively. It's almost impossible to see from the inside our own messaging effectively. It almost always takes some outside perspective to help us to get to that clarity, to get to the simplicity, to stop having this experience with your marketing and to focus on those 3 simple keys and to get that clear message, to be consistent in how you deliver it at each stage of that marketing message, and make sure that all of it leads to a compelling offer that's been carefully crafted to identify the internal needs, the philosophical needs, as well as solve the most obvious problems. So gang, these are the 3 keys again. And I know that this still feels a little bit overwhelming, and you probably feel like you've got some of these already, you're doing pieces of these, and that's great. But maybe they aren't working as effectively as you would like them to. So my offer to you today is a guidebook that has 6 very specific things that you can fix in your marketing. It walks you through if you're having revenue, but you're having clients, but you're not making enough revenue. How do you fix that? If maybe you're getting inquiries, but you're not closing sales, how do you fix that? Maybe you're getting, followers, but they're just not landing on your page and you're not getting inquiries. How do you fix that? So this is the link. I am going to post it in the chat box for you and invite you to download that. It has very specific fixes that can really help you have more clarity in your message, be able to be more consistent in sharing it, and to be able to have a compelling offer at the end. So let's now go see if we have some things that I can help you with in the chat box here, or any other questions that come up. So gang, we are at the end here. We're wide open for Q&A. I'm gonna go back and look at some of the examples that were there and see if I can help you get some clarity here. Priyanka, I see that your hand is raised. So how can I help you? Let's start with you.
Hi, Aura.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Awesome. This was a lovely presentation. Thank you so much for doing this. My question is, it seems to be like a process of changing your mindset. It seems like we sometimes have to change our language or our thought process from not thinking about ourselves to thinking about the prospects. So my question is, what do you do to kickstart that process, that change of mindset?
Excellent question and a brilliant observation. So much of marketing success is really shifting our mindset from I need to talk about myself, me, to who are my clients and what do they actually need? So the question of how do we shift that mindset Mostly when you're changing any kind of mindset, it's the step one is to look at what are your current beliefs and to write down those current beliefs. So what do you believe about marketing? What do you believe about business? What do you believe about finding clients? Write down those beliefs. I believe I need to prove that I am credible. I believe that I need to have more clients to be able to get clients. I believe I need to have the right contacts. I believe I have to pay lots of money to a marketing person. Whatever your belief is, the first step in changing any mindset is getting present to what is the current mindset that you have. And then the next step is, in my world, is to start looking at what would you need to believe in order to be successful. So one of the ways that you can discover what would you need to believe in order to be more successful is to look at who is successful. Who do you identify in your world or in your circle who is successful at what they do? And then look at what do they believe that I don't believe? Or what could they believe that I don't currently believe? So if you believe, hey, I believe I need to talk about myself in my marketing in order to be successful, and then you look out in the world at someone who you admire, who is experiencing success, and you go, oh, they talk about their clients all the time. They rarely talk about themselves. Maybe I need to believe that my clients are the most important thing to talk about in my marketing. So then you could start working on, in the past up until now, I believed this. I'm making progress on believing this. And you just start being self-aware that every time that thought comes up, you replace it with, I'm making progress on a new way of thinking. The best way I've found to change mindset is to be surrounded by other people who have a similar mindset or who are working towards creating that new mindset as well. It's one of the reasons why I am in a mastermind group and why I run a mastermind group myself, is specifically to create that environment so that change of mindset can happen. Awesome. We've got about 3 minutes left to be able to answer some more of these questions. So I'm looking through the chat box here to see some of them. Jeff, I think maybe I gave you some ideas about high-performing investors. Priyanka, royalty-free, copyright-free score, music, and soundtrack for indie filmmakers. So your 3-word identifier would be indie filmmakers. Your offer would be royalty-free score, music, and soundtracks. Or they would be, maybe you would want to do one compelling offer worksheet on the score music and one compelling offer on the soundtrack, if those are 2 separate things. Discerning healthcare customers who embrace authenticity, authentically personalized treatment. And see, Jillian, you see, I'm with you, sister, because the way that you're describing your ideal client is more than 3 words, and I want to use more than 3 words to describe my ideal client too. But what happens is people need to say, hey, yeah, that's me. And they need to know that label. So it can take time to simmer it down into a 3-word label that is going to be powerful and compelling. Tanya offers middle-class families that have been left behind by the financial industry. So what has caused them to be left behind, maybe? So it could just be middle-class families. Would they all raise their hand? Because presumably if they're middle class, they've been somewhat left behind, perhaps something like that. They don't have high enough money. So maybe it's, poor people. I mean, they've been told that they can't help them. So it might be rejected investors, rejected potential investors, or rejected so Tanya, you were saying that they are left behind by the financial industry, something like that. Jeff asked if he could ask a question. Jeff, yes, of course you can ask a question.
Thank you. First of all, this is amazing. Good job.
Thank you.
I want to say, it's very important to make it clear, use like what you said, 3 words to clarify what you can offer, right? But in this environment, it's I'm looking for opportunities in the financial industry. It's a heavily competitive industry. And that means when you use 3 words, it's like sort of similar to others.
100%, Jeff, 100%. So the 3 words that you're using are just to anchor in your mind and really be able to identify your ideal client. All of the rest of the worksheet is designed to, in column 5, give you tons of words and tons of language. Your compelling offer can be super long form compelling offer on a sales page, as long as it has insight, benefit, and reason to believe. Your marketing message will come in the form of social media posts and emails and advertising, and it will come in all different forms. But the idea is that you want to be focused and clear about talking to a particular person, and a way of being focused and clear about talking to a particular person is to identify them and to have a very clear raise your hand label to know specifically what you're selling, one offer or one service, not all your services. So not all just financial services, but maybe you want to talk about insurance or short-term investing or long-term legacy building. Pick one thing to talk about, and then look at what are all of the internal philosophical reasons, and then use all those words, many of those words, to be able to talk about you. And remember that in the insight, benefit, and reason to believe format for your compelling offer, the benefit part talks about what's different about you, your differentiation, your unique selling proposition, Jeff.
Yes,
that's how you stand out.
That means the 3 words just to clarify what the target, the prospect looks like. But when you want to deliver your message, you have to craft your, your extinguished message to the.
Yes, exactly. This is just the framework into which you're going to craft your own distinctive message.
Okay, I have to cut you off there.
Thank you.
So allow me to thank you on behalf of EIN's nearly 80,000 members for taking a massively complex topic and stopping it swirling and confusing our minds and distilling it into a very short, very understandable approach to marketing. Aura, we thank you hugely.
Thank you so much for having me back, Roger.